Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday evening. So I'm going to write something to see if the comments will come through this evening. Hopefully people are finding me. So if you're coming in, make sure you say something to make sure you can hear me okay. Hi, Mitzi. Oh, hi, Denise. Is everybody hearing me okay? Hi, Deb. I never know when I log in what's going to happen. Oh, hi, Jackie. So this is a really fun project tonight. I've really enjoyed it. Hi, Teresa. I've really enjoyed making this. It's not a real super hard project, but it's neat the way it's done. So, oh, is it raining in Illinois? I don't know that it's raining here. It sure looks rainy though. So the sound is good? Awesome. People are finding us. Cool. So I've been working on, so I worked on this last night, so I'm going to hold this up so you can see it. So here's the table runner. I have this I had it at the store, I brought it home. But what's cool about this project is the way, I like the way she did it because she digitized the quilting. So you do all the embroidery and you put the whole top together, just like you would, any other traditional quilt or table runner. And then she did the quilting. She does the quilting afterwards and digitized it to go on the table runner. So I thought that was really cool the way it was done. And it's just a real fun project, and you can do it real quickly because the blocks are easy. So we'll go through like all the fabric and talk about cutting and everything and what you need to put on the back of it and everything. And then I'll do one block. The blocks are simple and they're all very similar. So we'll talk about the blocks. There's only there's actually four different blocks. I guess there's a tree and the two double round ornaments, and then there's these longer skinny ones. Okay, so everybody's hearing me okay? Awesome. So yeah, so this was really fun. I really liked it, and I just like that it's quilted because see then it's quilted through the back. So this is the back of it, and I like that because a lot of the in the hoop ones that you quilt are only quilted through the top, and then you just have a plain back. So I thought this was cool that it was all quilted on the back also, and I used metallic thread. So when we quilt it next week, we'll talk about that too because I quilted it with the metallic thread. And then I also been working on, let's see, I've been working on this is the software class for the first week in August. I've always wanted to do a personalized pillow. I thought that was fun. So we're going to do that in August. And I'll show you where I'm at so far. I'm working on the quilt for November, and I'll show you where I'm at so far. I haven't got it quite done yet, but it's getting there. So I left this sitting over here, so hopefully you can see part of it at least. So I've been quilting it. Let me pull the camera, see if I can tip the camera a little bit. So I've been quilting it. Got all the blocks put together, and I'm quilting the center. And I don't know if you can see it too well. See if I can hold it a little closer. So I've got some pretty gold metallic in this with some feathers, and then I've got it all sewn together. So I'm working on the borders now. So it's getting closer. I've been having fun working on this too. So, all right. So that's some of the stuff coming up. I've had a busy week. I've been working on all kinds of stuff. Okay. Oh, is your name Janice too, Jan? I guess I never asked you if you were a Janet or a Janice. Yeah, I'm a Janice also. So, do you like the quilt? I actually am really having fun working on it, and I had to go back and re-digitize a little bit of the quilting so to make it easier for people. So I'm working on it. So Anyway, let's do this table runner. So this is going to be Christmas in July here at Sew Along with Jan. So we we're gonna do Christmas this month, and we're gonna do this table runner for a couple weeks, and then the last week we're gonna do those really cute little quilling ornaments. I used to do quilling as a kid with the paper rolling, and it was really fun. So that's what we're gonna do at the end of the month. So we'll do Christmas in July this month. So, okay, and you know what? I love doing Christmas stuff, and I have to really do it in the summer. And I have to do it in the summer, otherwise I just never get any Christmas stuff done. So I like to work on Christmas year round. So anyway, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna work on this. It's called Around the Tree Table Runner. So I'm gonna put this camera down here so you can see the book. Okay, get my cords out of the way here. All right. So, Around the Tree Table Runner is a design from Amelie Scott Designs. Amelie. She says Amelie Scott Designs. I always have to make sure I say it correctly. And it's up on the website, so if you don't have it, it's like $16. And she has a whole series of these table runners. So I'll probably do a couple more because they are really cute and they're simple, fun projects to do. So anyway, it's called Around the Tree Table Runner. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my fabric quickly. I used, kind of in the picture, she did a red and a white and a green. And you can do any colors you want. You could make it into, you could make it into blues, you could do golds, whatever colors you wanted. So I found this real nice red that had kind of just a little bit of a print to it. And I had a white with, whoops, second here, I've got something stuck to it. A white with that little silver shimmer to it. I thought that was neat. And then I had this green. I found a green with also a little bit of a print. So it's not completely plain, but it had just a little bit of a print to it. Okay? So, and then I cut these out. It gives you the cutting instructions on the bottom of the first page here. So you need to cut 6-inch squares of the white and the red. So like these are all 6 inches. The white and the red ones were 6 inches. And then the green that goes down the center here was I think it's 3.5 by 6. So they finished 3 by 5.5. The blocks all finish up about 5.5. Okay. And then the only change that I made was she says to cut 3 2.5-inch strips for the binding, and I prefer 2 1/4, so you can cut either 2 1/4 or 2.5. So mine are all 2 1/4-inch strips. The other thing I used, I'll tell you the colors I'm going to use. I'm actually using the brother colors of the thread, and I used a red, so I used Jockey Red, and I used Emerald Green and Harvest Gold, and then I quilted it and used some gold, the dime gold metallic, the MG1, and that's what I'm going to quilt it with also, because we can put that in the bobbin, yay! So we can do quilting with metallic. And then I used the silver. I don't have it over here because I don't need it tonight. I used the MS1 silver, the dime, and then just 001 white, and I've already got that loaded in my machine. Okay. So those are the colors I use. So you don't need a lot of colors, and of course, if you want to make yours a different color, use different colors to go with your fabrics. And the cutting was real simple and fast. You also need for the back. I'm still having a little trouble getting used to this new dashboard that they have for the live producer, so I have a little trouble seeing. The other thing you need for the backs of all of your blocks, including the plain red ones that we won't actually put anything in until we quilt it, because these are actually the little presents that were in this one were actually this present is actually the quilting. Okay, so there won't be anything on these red blocks until we're ready to quilt it. And then so you can see the quilting here also. So this is digitized, and I thought that was cool that she digitized the quilting to go with the blocks so that we could quilt it through all the layers, and it still looks really cool. Okay, so that's why I picked this. I just thought it was a neat way she did this. All right, so we've got our shape flex. You need shape flex on the backs of all of your 6-inch squares, which would be the red and the white. Then I'm going to put all the appliques on. So I've got a piece of shape flex on each one of those. And then you also need the shape flex on the back of your little 3.5 by 6 squares. Is that what yeah, 3.5 by 6 squares, okay, for the center. And I've already embroidered these. There was no applique in these tonight, and all of the blocks are basically created the same way. I'll just probably do one in the class tonight because I don't think you really need to watch me do all of these, but they're all done in the same manner. So I went ahead and did these last night, and I'll show you how I took the basting stitches out and stuff. So you just put your shape flex on the back of these as well. Okay. So I got all my little light bulbs down the center already done. All right. Let's see if we missed anything. Oh, and then when we go to put it together, I'll talk about putting it together at the end. It's very simple, and she has really nice pictures in the instructions how to put it together. Just like I got something in the middle of my screen here I want to get rid of. Okay. So there's a real nice picture about how she puts it together so that it goes a little bit faster. And you'll want to sew your whole top together before next week, and then lay your batting and your backing and put your backing on, and then pin baste it, and then we'll do the quilting next week. Okay, so is there any questions about the fabrics so far and what I used for thread? So I used my Brother embroidery thread, I used some metallic thread, and I'm going to use the regular bobbin thread in the bobbin, and I'm also using tearaway stabilizer. Okay, so the one thing that I don't use that she called for is a temporary spray adhesive, and I'll show you how to get away with. You don't need that. I don't like to use it because it gets in your machine. What is Shape Flex? Shape Flex is a Pellon product, Carol, and it is like an embroidery prep material. It's not really a stabilizer, but it's like a preparatory for embroidery. So you can buy that at like Joann's. I have it on the website. I just have smaller amounts, but if you need like a lot of it, you can get it at Joann's too. But I do have it up on the website, and it adheres. It has an iron-on, and it's sort of like, it looks sort of like muslin with an adhesive on it. I mean, it's like cotton fabric almost. So it really gives all the fabric a lot of body, and then it keeps things from puckering. So Shape Flex is a great stuff. It's Pellon, S as in Sam, F as in Frank 101, and it's a real important stuff. I use it on a lot of my projects now because I've been introduced to it, and it works very, very well. So okay, so let's talk about getting ready to embroider here. So she had wonderful, wonderful, simple instructions in this book, and I made a few notes, but for the most part, everything is pretty straightforward and very easy. So the block that I want to, let's talk through this first block. This is the tree, and this is, whoops, let's see if I have my tree here. A second, I've got one done. So there's 2 of each block. You find my tree. And oh, and I forgot to tell you on the first page, the tree applique pieces were about 4 by 4.5. So I did cut those out. Okay. And so here's the little tree, and this one's a super simple little one that you basically, the only applique is the little tree part. Trim it. Has some pretty little garland I did that in the gold metallic, and then the satin stitch outline. So this was a real simple one. So we probably won't do this one in class, but if you look on starting on page 2, it talks about how it goes. And when I do the block that I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do this block, because these 2 blocks we'll talk through the first 2 blocks, and then we'll do this one, and we'll sew this one out. Okay, so the first step is going to be a placement line on the stabilizer only. So you only need to hoop your stabilizer, and then you're going to lay the block, the plain block, down. And what she does is a placement line so that your squares are cut the same size as the placement line. So what you do is simply lay your block down, your fabric block down inside the square, and then you know that it's completely centered in the hoop, and that's important because that's why then we know this is centered exactly on our fabric, and then when she digitized the quilting, it goes around these pieces that are on the fabric then. So I thought that was so neat how she did that with just a simple basting box. She just went around, did a placement line. We're going to lay this down, and then we're going to tape it down. I just used some Kimberbell tape on a couple of the sides just to hold it in place. And then the next step is always going to be a basting stitch. So it's going to baste all the way around these. And then the next step for this little tree, of course, up here, is going to be the placement line for the tree, applique. And then you'd lay your fabric down. So we've done that many times. And then you'll trim your fabric. And then the next step was the little gold garland that I showed you. And then we'll go to the next page. And then it does the cover stitch on that. Okay? So you make 2 trees. So I've got one more to do yet. I haven't done the second one. So if you want me to do another block, we'll do 1 block, and then if you want me to go back, we'll probably do the tree because it goes very fast. Okay? So there's my first block, and I've got it all ready. I'm all ready to do a second one. Okay, then the round ornaments. Now this is the round ornaments and the long thin ornaments are done, can be done 2 different ways. So my first table runner on the round ornaments, I decided to use, she suggested either using fabric or Mylar. Okay, so the first one, I did use Mylar on these. And I also used Mylar on this one. Whoops. On this one here. Okay, so these both have Mylar. So that's why I want to do this block here for sure. When I did the Mylar for these blocks, I don't feel like maybe the Mylar is well enough covered by a, normally with Mylar it's completely covered by a motif stitch to hold the Mylar in place so that it won't rip. And as you notice, these blocks are done like that. You can see the little decorative stitches in there. Okay, so the round ornaments, the second time I did them, I thought, well, I'll just do it all in Mylar. But then when I got them done, I'm like, it's possible if you're not a little careful with that, you could rip those. Okay, so this one I'm going to use, I did both of them that way. So this one I'm going to put fabric in. So she said you could do either one. Okay, so the fabric, making the round ornament blocks, you can, when you get to the applique portion, because the block is made the same way. Okay, so now this one I use the fabric. So I just used the fabric that I had, for my blocks and for my tree. And I just did that, and I think those look lovely with the fabric on them. And I feel that it will be a little more sturdy with the fabric. So I'm going to make the round ones with the fabric instead of with the Mylar. Okay? So you can do it either way, and she shows it in the instructions with Mylar. She says you can also use fabric if you prefer. Okay? But I think either one's fine. If you're not washing this a lot, or if you don't think it's going to get handled a lot, I think the Mylar is just fine on it. But it seemed a little delicate to me. Okay? So the same thing for that block, for the round ornament block. You will start with the placement line on your tearaway stabilizer, and then you'll lay the block down, okay, and it'll do the basting line, and then it starts with the applique and the tack downs for each ornament. So there's a red ornament and a green ornament on this one. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. So I thought I'd just go through here. Now what she did here is she happened to do one in Mylar and one in fabric, but I preferred the fabric, so I did fabric on the round ones. Okay, and then the gold tops, you of course trim around your appliques and so on, and then the gold tops, and then they did the outlines for each ornament. So it's pretty straightforward. So I personally might recommend using fabric on those. This little decorative stitch is beautiful, but it doesn't really protect all of that Mylar real well. So I think I like the fabric better on these, okay? Then this block is the one we'll do tonight. So this block is going to have the Mylar in it, and I like it because she has this, you can see the little crosshatch design over the top of the Mylar. Mylar is fun to work with, but it really kind of needs to be firmly secured to the fabric, okay, to keep it from getting ripped or torn, all right? So let's do that one first. So this is how all of these blocks are. So I want to talk you through the first two. And you make all of these blocks the same way. So a second here, I got to get my thread untangled. All right, so I have my tearaway stabilizer in my hoop, and I have, you can use any color you want for the placement line. I just put my white in. I can see it well enough even on the white stabilizer. So I have now chosen the block with the two longer ornaments on it. And we're going to do these with Mylar. So I figured that would be the hardest block, so we should do that one this evening. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sew out step number 1, which is going to be your placement line. Looks like I got Mylar all on there already. Let's see if I can find the block again here. These are so fun to make. I got that whole table runner done in a real short time because it's just fun and easy, and the blocks turn out so cute. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it too well. Let me see if I can get just a little closer. You can see the line in the white. I should have put it in a darker color, but I think you understand. So there's the white line here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take then my block, and I'm going to place it, make sure I've got it placed right inside that placement line, so that way we know it's centered in the hoop where we want it, okay? And then I'm just going to put a little piece of tape. You could use fabric glue stick, works too for this. I just use a little tape because I've always got tape up here. And I'm going to make sure I get it real well centered in that placement line. And then we're just going to tape it down. Like that. And you could do it on all 4 sides if you wanted, but I didn't really feel like I needed to. I can kind of hold it, and I just make sure it's all nice and centered. And then the second step is going to be a fairly large basting line. Now the one thing I noticed with this is that it's kind of a long stitch, so it doesn't always want to catch real well in this left corner. So let's see how we do with this. Usually it ties pretty well, and if you put your hand here, well, it starts, there it goes, yeah, it went well this time. If you put your hand and hold a little bit, it keeps the hoop from moving quite as much. And then it just puts a nice basting stitch all the way around there, and see, it's all secured to the stabilizer now. So you don't really need to use glue. I don't know why she had you using adhesive glue. I just think the tape worked just real easily, and it was super fast. Okay. So are there any questions so far? So we've got our block in where our placement line is. Inside the placement line, it's exactly the same size. Then I've got my basting stitch around the outside edge. Okay? Now the next step is going to be starting the applique procedure. So at this point, I'm going to do, I think it's the green ornament first. So yeah, I'm going to put the green in. My green here, hopefully. And we're going to start doing the applique. So all of these are basically the same. So, whoops, helps Jan, you know, if you thread the machine. Does the rest of you do that? I do that all the time. I forget to thread it. Haven't figured out why I do that, but I've always done it. Okay, second here, I've got a big long thread now. There we go. All right, so we're going to go ahead, and this is going to be our tack down line for the first Mylar applique. Now, if you're looking for Mylar, we do have it on the website. It's the Kimberbell Mylar. They have this real pretty red, and I think it's in the jewel tones, if I remember right. The red and the green is in the jewel tones. So here's that real pretty red, and here's the green, Christmas green. Okay, so those are on the website too. All right, so what I'm going to do So I'm going to lay my Mylar down on over my placement line, just like I would my normal fabric. Okay, so if I was using fabric. Oh, okay, in the instructions, you know what? I remember reading that and I forgot to highlight that. I do not do that, Jackie. Jackie says in the instructions it said match bobbins, just curious why, since it was a backing. I agree. Um, I think some machines, when they are doing straight stitching, do not have as good attention as our machines do, and I think it shows the bobbin thread. So my machine never shows bobbin thread, and I don't understand why you need to change the bobbin. It might be because the gal that does these instructions or did the book and the design uses a different brand of machine, so possibly her machine doesn't work as well. And I mean, maybe not work as well, but it shows bobbin thread. So I never do that. I just use white bobbin thread in all of these, and all of mine look perfect. I mean, here's the back of one of mine. Oh, you wound them? I did not use any bobbin thread on any of these. I didn't use any pre-wounds at all. I did not wind any bobbin thread. I used only white bobbin thread. You don't need to use anything. You will need a bobbin of whatever you're going to quilt it with. This is what I did put this in the bobbin. So yes, okay. You can just use the thread right off the bobbins. Just put the bobbin on and use that, Jackie. Okay. So no, I did not use. I just used regular white bobbin thread. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to place my Mylar over the placement over my placement line, and I normally don't tape this down. I like to hold it because this stuff scoots around, and if I tape it, sometimes I hit the tape. I'm terrible when it comes to taping little things, and I like to just hold it. So I think holding it works just fine. So it's going to go around it twice. And she also talked about another type of Mylar. She talked about opaque Mylar. And there are Mylars that are like iridescent type, and some people use that over fabric instead of using colored Mylar. So either one worked fine, but I just use the colored Mylar. Okay, so the iridescent would be pretty over like the red fabric or the green fabric too. And I think that's what she's referring to on page 9. Okay, all right, now this is the place that's a little strange. Normally when you do applique with Mylar, you don't trim it with a pair of scissors. Normally you rip it off. I did not have very good luck doing that with this particular design. I tried after I did the inside stitching, but it did not work very well for me. So I am going to tell you just to go ahead and trim it. It's a little tough to trim, and you got to be careful not to rip anything. And most of the time when I do Mylar, when I've made Mylar stuff, I like to do a decorative stitch right away so that you can kind of rip the Mylar off, because it's not very easy to trim. So we are just going to trim it here. And you don't want to rip when there's just an outline around it, because then it's going to rip into the fabric. And I'm going to rip away and get that little piece out of there. But you don't want to rip this off, because you will rip into your design. So I am going to trim it. It doesn't have to be super, super close, because the outline is pretty wide, so I think it'll be okay. So I think I'm doing all right here. I find Mylar very difficult to trim. And again, if you don't want to use Mylar, just use the fabric for this, because that would look just as beautiful. Okay, let's get some of these. If I got a couple little ends over here I got to get to. Okay, all right, so we got that one. Now it's going to go down here and do a placement line for the other ornament, and I'm going to go ahead and switch my thread to the red then. And I want to make that one red. I think that's how, yep, that's how I did them. Make sure I didn't mix the colors up. I guess it wouldn't matter. So we'll do this one red. And I kind of like to match my thread to my appliques I always have. So I usually just change the colors. I know it's one more thread change, but... Okay, so I got my red Mylar, and we're going to do this in a Mylar too. Yes, Denise, that would look really pretty to do glitter vinyl. I don't know that I would use it on this because there's so much stitching on top, Denise. The round ornaments would have been pretty in glitter vinyl, yes. So that would be a very good idea. But these, I don't know if I would put the glitter vinyl under all that stitching because there was quite a bit of that motif stitch. It was quite small, and it might make the glitter vinyl a little bit puckery possibly. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay my Mylar over this one. And now we're going to stitch the tack down line. You'll have to send me pictures, Denise, if you do yours with glitter vinyl. That it's going to be pretty. So you can use anything you want for appliques. You know, appliques are fun because you can be creative and do whatever you want. So, all right. So now we got this one. We'll trim this one as well. So just be careful not to pull up. Don't pull up too hard because you don't want to rip this up into the stitching. And when I do this sometimes, if I just kind of squeeze the scissors partially shut, you can kind of push the scissors through there instead of actually going up and down with them. I've got a little dull spot on these though, so I have to move them a little bit. But I've always found it hard to trim Mylar, and I think that's why they tell you to rip it most of the time, but I can't do that with this. And if I don't do this part, the trimming, then you know there's other stuff that she digitized on top of things, so you have to get it out of the way. Otherwise you'll have Mylar under everything. Okay. Okay, so now there's our two Mylar ornaments. Now the next step is going to be the little tops. So we're going to switch over. I'm going to do my tops in the gold metallic. I think it's MG1. Oh, there goes my Mylar to the floor. MG1. Really like this King Star metallic. It sews through the machine really well, and I love that I can put it in the bobbin. Okay. All right. And it's even behaving itself and threading for me tonight. Every now and then I run across the one that it does not like, my machine does not like to thread, and I don't know why, because it threads most of them. Every now and then I'll just have a spool it won't thread. So must just be, I don't know, must be something. All right. Yeah, and I think in the picture here, I don't know if you can see well, but I think she did one in Mylar and one in fabric. So, because she talked about how you could do both of them. So, all right, so we're going to do these little tops on the top of our ornaments. I'm going to pick up my Mylar while this is sewing so I don't roll over it. I have a fan blowing, and so those little pieces of Mylar fly all over the place. Okay, so we're going to do the second one. This was very fun. This is such a relaxing project too. It's not a hard one. And you don't have that many blocks, so you make two of each one of these blocks, the one that I'm doing. And the one that I'm doing, and then of course you'll make two of these, and then I just made them the same. So here's my other one, my first one I made. And I'm going to make another one of these. I haven't done this one yet. And another tree. And then we're going to have 6 of the plain red blocks, and then those will have that cute little present in it, but that's actually the quilting stuff. All right, so here's our second one. So now I think the next step is going to go then back to the this ornament here, and it's going to do that fill or that motif stitch over the top. I like the Mylar too, Marianne. I'm just a little concerned that possibly on the round ornaments it might be a little delicate. But the thing is, this is not something I'm probably going to wash a lot, so I'm sure it'll be just fine. I do like the Mylar too. All right, so now it's going to go do this decorative stitch on here. Where did I get the white background fabric? Well, probably Walmart. I'm pretty sure I did. I took it out of my Walmart in Anamosa. Yeah, I took it out of. It was in my my scrap box. So I have a feeling. I'm sure it was. It was just some luck that I had left over. You don't need much fabric for this. I didn't go through all the fabric yardages, but as you could see on the first page of the instructions, you needed like a quarter of a yard of background fabric for the ornaments and the trees, that'd be the white, and a quarter of a yard of the red, like for the presidents, and then an eighth of a yard for the little lights, so that you don't need a whole lot of fabric. You can make, I basically made this out of scraps. I had to make two, so I did buy some prettier red and green. All right, so then it's going to go back and do the other side. Yeah, we need a group trip to Jan's Walmart. And it's funny because I buy a lot of fabric there. I always have. I mean, when they opened when I was a teenager, they even had garment fabrics and everything. I remember going out there and buying suiting to make a suit for me and a suit jacket, and I mean, they had all kinds. They've always had a lot of fabric out there. Okay, so I think we got that one done. So now what it did with this, I'll show you a little closer up here. See how it did that nice cover for all that Mylar, and it's really going to hold it down so that it won't rip and come out, okay? All right, so now I think it's going to do the red one, so we're going to switch back and we'll do the red one. And when I was doing these the other night, when I was sewing out some more of these, you can kind of skip forward. She does a lot of thread changes, so I kind of skipped back and forth so I wouldn't have to change the thread so many times. But I wanted to show you the actual design, so this is the actual order of the design. And then it's going to go around and it's going to do the same decorative fill over the top of the red ornament. Oh, Jan, they basically were out of all the summer fabrics. I got those like in April. Those cute summer fabrics, yeah. I got those like in April. Yeah, they actually would be cute on Christmas cards, Marianne. I thought they were just really cute designs, all of them. And the table runner, I just like the idea of her. I like the idea of the way she did it, so that we could stitch through the whole thing instead of doing just the front. So that's going to do the little decorative thing, and that's really going to hold that. That's why I chose when I did these to go ahead and do these in fabric with the pretty gold on it. I thought they were still really pretty, even with the fabric, but I just felt they just felt a little bit more sturdy to me. Trying to make sure I saw everybody's comments. Yeah, the Walmart and Animals has always had good fabric, and they're such a small store, but they have like this huge fabric department. But they don't. When you go in to get like specialty fabrics and stuff, you got to get them when you see them. Don't wait till next week or something to get them. Get them right then, because then they're gone. So, all right. So then it's going to do the decorative stitching on here, and I used my gold metallic for that. Oops. So I'm going to put gold metallic on both of these. And I think this is where I went back and forth with the design, and I'll show you what I did, because she does the gold metallic here on this one, and then she does the green outline, and then she goes over here and does the decorative in the outline. So I wanted it the same color on both ornaments, so I'll show you how I think most of you know how to fast forward on your machine, but I'll just show you, because I might have somebody new. that doesn't know how to do that easily. And it's going to do those little decorative elements in there. You know, Jan, the Walmart, I buy a lot of basic fabrics, and so that's why I think I've always been able to find stuff there. I really like the that little pillow I showed you with my name on it. That one's all done out of the those patriotic fabrics that I had left over from the big pillow from last month. So. Okay, so we got those decorative stitches. Now I was kind of, I was a little too impatient. So what I do, I want to do these in gold also, so I don't have to change it again. So I go over here and I go down to, oops, let me get a little lower here, positive, negative needle, and I'm gonna go down to the next step, which is gonna give me my gold on the red ornament, and then I can go back up. So I didn't have to change the color so many times. I'm impatient, I guess. So that's what I just did, is I just fast forwarded it so it'd do the other gold. Whoops, looks like the thread unthreaded though. Second here. See, you get to see me back everything up again. Sometimes that happens. It looks like it just unthreaded. Let's see if it threads again. I think it was a silver that I was having trouble with the threading. I don't know why. I do get fabric at Hobby Lobby, Cindy. I haven't been going into Hobby Lobby as much as I had been before the pandemic, so I am starting to go back in there again. So yes, I like Hobby Lobby. Oops, second here. It's still mad. Why, I don't know. I'll take the bobbin out too. Since I didn't do that, that's probably the problem, is the bobbin. So we'll just take it out. If in doubt, see the bobbin wasn't in there, right? So sometimes the bobbin, when it skips a stitch or something, if you don't take the bobbin out too, I should always listen to myself. Change the top and the bottom. Otherwise, it's never the one you think it's going to be. All right, so let's go back to the beginning of that one again. See if it'll behave itself for us. There we go. See, I changed the bobbin, I did the bobbin. I missed, yes, so what? Hobby Lobby doesn't, for those of you who don't know, Hobby Lobby doesn't have 40% off coupons anymore. So you have to wait for everything to go on sale. So it's a little hard to keep track sometimes when stuff's on sale. There we go, it's happier now. So yeah, so please remember to do what I didn't do. Change your bobbin. Take your bobbin out and rethread the bobbin if something happens on the top, because it's never the one you think it is. Oh, this one has 3. I've forgotten it had 3 lines at the top. I thought it only had 2. Yep, 3. I really like the gold metallic on it. I thought that was really pretty. It's funny, the new live producer for Facebook, now I have this teeny tiny little screen that I have aim my camera. I used to have the whole screen. But if I make it bigger, I can't see your comments. So I don't know which. I really need to see the comments. So, all right. There we go. So now, since I backed up, we need to go back up and catch that green. So let's just go back. We'll go back to the plus minus needle down here. And I'm going to back up to my green. We'll catch that green there. Then I didn't have to, there was one time I didn't have to, whoops, I'm about to lose my camera here, just a second. I got a couple of new arms for the camera and I haven't got them adjusted yet. There we go. It's a little bit loose, there we go. All right, so now we'll put the green back on. We'll get the outline for the green ornament. Now there's some designs you can't do what I did, you know, when I went from, like I jumped from here to here. You got to be a little careful doing that on some designs because they usually are digitized in a certain order for a reason. So remember that when you're looking at the design you're playing with. This one was okay to do that, to skip ahead and then go run back and catch it because you weren't going to, you know, have anything not correct on the design. This is she did a real nice wide satin stitch on this. Takes a minute for this one to do. Most of these blocks were about, less than 15 minutes sewing time. I think this one was only about 12 minutes. This one took a little more because it had a little bit more decorative stitching on it. I think everybody will really enjoy this. And like I said, she has a whole bunch of these. Like there's one for every season. I just picked up another one for the fall. I thought this one was cute. It's this one's called Grateful Table Runner, and it's got the little squirrels on it and the leaves, and then it's got like a wreath in the center. This one would be pretty for fall. And then there's a real pretty Easter one. And evidently, these are all what she's calling a dealer exclusive, and you can only buy these in a store. You can't buy these on her website. So she has this whole little series of table runners for the whole year. And, you know, they're all seasonal and Christmas and, you know, Easter and all that. I just thought that was so cool. So I'm going to do a couple more of these, and I thought this one was pretty too. I think I maybe got 4 or 5 of them. She's got a patriotic one that was real cute. I know I got that in Easter and Christmas, and I know I got the fall, and then it was spring one. Yes, Carol, this is a very easy one to do. So this would be a really good one for you to start with if you've never appliqued. You already have the fall one, Mary? Yeah, I thought this one was cute, the grateful one. Yeah, I thought this was cute. And unfortunately, all of her designs are now downloadable. So you can see the little download thing. You have to go make an account on her website to download. It's real easy. She does it in an easy way, but it was a little bit. It was one of those things that everybody's going to downloads now. So okay, so now we're back to that gold that I already did. So now I'm going to pop down an extra one so I can pick up the red ornament. Okay, so that way you can hop around a little bit. Saves a few. Where'd my red thread? Here it is. Saves a few color changes. So, and we'll do the red. All right. So yes, Carol, this would be a very easy one for you to start with because it's fun to applique with Mylar, and if you don't have any Mylar, just use fabric. It would be very pretty as well. So yeah, these have been just so much fun. And yeah, I can't remember what other ones. And then she has a new book too. This is Amelie Scott. I just got this. I haven't got it for the store yet, but she has a new one called Build a Quilt on your embroidery machine. I haven't even really looked at it yet. I just got it the other day. But this one's done more like some of my other quilts have been done. You know, when you put the back on the blocks and then you strip them together. So I think that's how she's doing a lot of these. So I wanted to read through this to check it out because she had some really cute designs in here. So she's got a couple of new things out. All right, so we're getting around this one. All right, so while this is going around, let's see what the next thing is. Oh, and the little light bulbs. So the little light bulbs are done the exact same way, except you could do those in a 5x7 hoop. Now this is a 6x10 hoop because that outside, our block is 6 inches, so that placement line is 6 inches square. So you do need to use a 6x10 hoop to do it. And the little light bulbs can be done in a 5x7 hoop. Okay, but there's no applique on these. These are just sewn. And so you do it the same way. She has the little applique, you know, the little placement line, and then the basting line, and then you stitch each of the colors, okay? And you can use any colors you want. I used yellow, white, and red on mine. And then I used silver metallic. The silver metallic I used on the little strings. Okay, so there's no applique in the light bulb blocks. So that's the light bulb blocks. Then once we get this out of the hoop, then we'll talk about getting them sewn together before next week, so that we can do the quilting. All right. So when you're done stitching, you can take this out of the hoop. Second here, if I can get it out of here. And what worked well for me was to do the basting first. Now, I have a tendency to want to do everything my own way, and she said to take the basting out. Well, I thought, oh golly, I don't want to have to sit there and do all, you know, take all this basting out. Well, you really have to, because she puts the basting at the 1/4 inch line, and if you don't take it out, it's going to show when you sew this together. So just to save yourself time, take it out as you do each block. It'll go very fast. So what I do to take these out then, I always turn these over to the back, and I just take my seam ripper. Cindy, yes, I did. I put on the back of the fabric, I put Pellon Shaped Flex, which is that SF101. So that's on the back of all the fabrics. And so I took my seam ripper on to where the bobbin thread is, and about every 3 or 4 stitches, and they're long, I'm just going to go around all the way around the block. This seems to work the best for me to take basting stitches out. I just hate basting stitches. I don't like to take them out. I don't mind them being on there. I just don't like taking them out. So I'm going to go around about every 4 or 5 little stitches, and I'm going to just cut through the bobbin thread all the way around. And I just, like I said, I just don't like to take the basting stitches out, but you have to with this, because she went in 1/4 of an inch from the edge. Okay. So then I'm going to turn it over, and it should kind of loosen those stitches, because they're quite long. And I'm just going to pull. See, once I got it started, see, I can just pull it out, because just cut through your bobbin thread about every 3 or 4 stitches or so, and then you can just pull it all out. See, and there's the whole basting all the way around. And then you can just pull out the rest of the stabilizer like that. There you go. Okay, now if it looks a little wrinkly, don't try to press it out, especially with this Mylar, because the Mylar needs to be covered for, oh my gosh, the ice cream truck is outside my door. I can hear it playing. I haven't heard him there's an ice cream truck that comes out through here in the summer, and I haven't heard him this year, and this is the first time. So I don't like to press these, because, for one thing, when we go to put this together, and then when we quilt it, you're never going to notice that there's a little pucker, because it's going to take the puckering out. So don't worry about it if there's just a little, like in here, I see a little pucker in here. It's because of the shape of the ornaments. But there'll be a little quilting, and it'll be just fine. You won't see it at all. Because there was a little quilting down in the middle there. Look. So there's a little quilting that goes down in here, and you can't tell that if it looks puckered, it won't once it's quilted. So that's that same block. And I thought it was cute because their quilting is little light bulbs. So I thought that was really cute. Okay. That's how you take your blocks out of the hoop. Now, are there any question on the blocks? You're going to make 6 blocks. You're going to make 2 of each of the ornaments and 2 trees, and then you got to make 6 of the little light bulb blocks that go up the center. Okay, and those are simple, because there's no applique on those. I'm done the same way. All right, so I got both of these ornament blocks done, and I'll do the other 2 tonight too. All right, so then when you go to put it together, she gave you a real nice instructions on how to put it together. And I did put up here in big letters, remove all the basting stitches. So if you do each block as you go, you won't have to do them all at the same time and I didn't do it, so then I was picking after I got it sewn together. So when she told you to take those basting stitches out, take the basting stitches out. Okay, you're going to use a 1/4 inch seam for all of these. And the one thing that she tells you to do is to mark the center of the blocks before you start sewing them together. So what I did with mine when I did my original piece is I took a marker, like a I used a water soluble, and I didn't do it. I tried to use a water soluble on most of them. I used one of those Frixion pens on a couple of them because I thought it would go away too fast when I was doing this. I did all of this like basically the same day, so it wasn't a problem. But she tells you to mark the center of your blocks because that's going to help with the quilting. Okay, and I'm going to show you another way to do it when we get ready to do this next week. But I would tell you to mark the center of your blocks so that you're sure you know where the centers are. If you do it after you sew them together, if your seam's a little bit off, it's not going to be the center. So mark it from the raw edges, as that's what she tells you to do. So she says that's very important to mark the center of your blocks before you start putting them together. So I'll do the same thing with these. I'll mark the centers of my plain ones too, and I'll just take my ruler and measure and put a mark in there with I've used a Frixion pen for these. And then I think the white ones, I used a water soluble because I didn't want to iron that off. I didn't want to touch this with an iron because of the Mylar and stuff. So I used a water soluble on the white blocks. Okay. So you need to do that on all of those, and that was important that she said to do that. Okay. Then when you go to join them together, she gave you some great pictures. So she kind of has you put one of the little short blocks on the top of 3 of the red ones, okay, and then on top of one of each of the ornaments. I'm sorry, one of each of the blocks. One tree, one round ornament, and one long ornament. Okay. Then, as you can see, then she kind of has you stagger them and put the 2-piece. Like here's the tree with one of the little strings of lights on it, and then here's a red block, and then she had you add the round ornaments to this unit, and so on. And it really worked really quick. And you just use a 1/4 inch seam, and you can put it together other ways, but this actually went very fast by just doing some of the small ones, getting the small ones attached to a bigger block, and then you can just do all the bigger blocks. Okay, I did open the seams. Most of the time when you quilt, you turn them to the side, but I did open these because of that shape flex. It's very hard, it's very bulky if you turn them, so I would suggest opening the seams because of the shape flex, because it's a little stiffer than normal fabric, okay? And she does say press the seams open down here. And that did work much better because of the shape flex. Normally when I have shape flex on the back, I like to open the seams because it's kind of bulky to turn them to the side. Okay. All right, and then she shows you putting the whole thing together. Here's the 3 units, and then putting the 3 units together across. Okay, so it's real simple assembly. And then after you assemble it, you're going to make a quilt sandwich. You're going to lay your backing down. You're going to lay a piece of batting, and I use Hobbs 80/20 backing. So next week we'll talk about the backing and everything again next week when we go to quilt. But if you want to prepare your sandwich before next week, I just wanted to run through it quickly this week. You're going to put the batting on, or the backing down with the backing, the wrong side up, and then you're going to put your batting down, and then put your top in the middle. And then I just pin based. I use large, safety pins about this big, and I go ahead and pin base the whole thing. I don't use spray adhesive. Okay. Now the one thing that I am going to show you next week too in it is that I did stitch in the ditch on it, and she does not tell you to do that, but I felt it was a little bit insecure in the center. There's a lot of quilting along the outside edges. You know, there's quilting along here, all along here, but there wasn't any quilting in the center. So I decided that I would stitch in the ditch. So I actually stitched in the ditch after the fact, and it worked fine, but I would tell you to stitch in the ditch, and I'll do that. I'm going to actually do that next week. I'm going to stitch in the ditch before I start doing the rest of the quilting. Okay, so I'll actually do that next week. I'll just do it right in front of everybody. But I just wanted everybody to know how to put it together. So I don't think you'll have any problems putting it together because her pictures were wonderful. She had very detailed instructions. And just put your blocks together and then maybe sandwich it and get it ready to quilt it next week, and then we will do all the quilting. We'll start the quilting next week. I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do it. She does it with the center markings on the blocks. I've got another way that I've done stuff like this before, so we'll try a couple different options to show you see which way works better for you. So, okay. So we're ready. We're going to be ready with all the blocks, and then next week we will do the quilting. And I'll go through the sandwiching again next week, and I'll also go through the stitching in the ditch. Okay? All right. So everybody has a whole week to get all these little quick blocks done. They just don't take too long. So I'll probably finish mine tonight. I got a couple more to do. Do my other tree. Does anybody need me to do another block? Is everybody okay with the blocks? You think you need to see any of the other ones? The other ones are actually easier than the one we did. So, okay, I have to do another one of these also. So here's my fabric ready to go. So I'll do those tonight too. Okay. Is everybody still out there or all asleep? It's been kind of a dreary day today. I've been watching TV and I had to go feed my friend's cats, so I actually got out of the house today. Should be good to go. You think everybody can finish up their blocks? You don't have to make too many. You do 12 blocks because you do 6 of these, you do 6 of the little ones, and you do the 6 bigger ones, the 2 of each one. Oh, can I show the November quilt? Yes, I can show the quilt again. Yep. Let me see if you can see it. Hopefully you can see it a little bit better. Okay, there was another question. What was the other question? Do you have to put the blocks in the exact order she has them in the block? Not necessary. No, Colleen, you can do them any way you want. She just has 2 of each one, you know, and she has them kind of spread apart so they're not like right next to each other. But no, put them anywhere you want. Okay, so here's the quilt. This is the one I'm working on. So this is, oops, I don't know if you can see it very well. It's hard with this little camera to have it. So this is all done with little small squares, and then this is going to be done in the same concept as this table runner, because I like my quilts to be quilted through the quilt, you know, like here it's all quilted through it, and I want my quilts to all be like that, but not all of you have the same camera equipment on your machine that I do, so I figured out a way that you can do this without having a camera. So I'll show you how I did it, and this will be a class for November. So let's check the other questions here in a second. I think I missed a couple. If you're not using Mylar and use a print, don't use the what did you say? Second, I'm getting a bunch of these. I gotta back up a little bit. Sorry, guys. It hides all your fabric print. Guess my first. Oh, okay. The Mylar and you use print, don't use the hatch. Oh, okay, yeah, it will, because that cross hatch will really cover up a print. Most of my fabric that I used it had a print, but it wasn't, it was sort of like it reads as a solid. So it wasn't a print. Let's see. Is this your own? Yes, Clara, this is my own quilt for November, yes. I digitized, it's all done it's red work. So I did all of these. Yep, and I'm digitizing the quilting too. I think it's turned out pretty. I'm excited about it. Yeah, thanks everybody. So I think everybody will, and it's not a very big quilt. It's like 40, it's about 38 by 44 or 43, so it's not very big. And I haven't got the borders done yet. So I'm working on. It's got a small border and a larger one, and then but I digitized the quilting for that also, so that everybody, even if you don't have like a camera, will easily be able to um, quilt this on your own. I mean, if I'm going to make it so that it's very easy to quilt. And so I've been really enjoying it. I've got another one over here. I'll have to show you. This is my it's not as pretty, but it's cute. I have to make another one. I always have to make 2 or 3 of these when I do this. So this is my crazy one. This is all my crazy fabric that I had in my cupboard, Christmas fabric. So it's kind of wild, but this is my crazy quilt that I'm going to use for my practice. So it turned out cute though. I like the colors. So I just sewed everything out again to test it again. I do a lot of test sewing when I do this. So, but I wasn't happy with the quilting, so I had to go redo the quilting. So I'll be doing a couple more edits yet, I'm sure. Okay, so next week we'll do the quilting on the table runner, and we will, and then the last week we'll have another Christmas project. We'll do the quilling, the little gift tags. So, okay. So, are there any other questions? Everybody get all their I think I got all the questions answered. I'll go back and write answers too on the group. So. I think they're cute. I really like the darker colors better, but the other one, I needed another quilt to practice with the quilting because I didn't care. I did it. The first one is fine, but it's not going to be as easy unless you have a camera to do it. So I'm going to, I needed to alter the quilting to make it easier to quilt. So great. Okay, so thanks everybody. If you have any questions about the table runner, get a hold of me through Facebook or at the store, and I will see you next week, and we'll do our quilting. The quilting is really fun on this. So, is the Mylar washable? Yes, it is. This is actual garment Mylar. I mean, like they make Mylar like at Hobby Lobby and stuff. That really can't be washed. This is made for like embroidery. This Mylar was made for embroidery. So yes, you can wash it. It doesn't hold up like for like washing every day. This is not something probably you're gonna have to wash every day. So do I have the designs at the store for the table runner? Marianne, I have one left and I need to order some more. I sold 2 on Friday, so I do have one left at the store. And if not, I'll get it ordered this week and it should be here in a couple days. So, all right. So if anybody else, like I said, I've only got one CD left because I sold like 2 or 3 like the last day I was there, and I haven't had a chance to order them yet. So I'll order them, and it doesn't take very long to get them. So, all right. So thanks everybody, and we will see you next week, and we'll get our quilting done. So thanks everybody. Have a good evening. Bye.